What I want when I get that steel in my plant is to be able to utilize all of our craftsmanship, the designs, and the technology that's taken so long to develop. We've got to be able to appraise what we can do with a piece of steel. And from then on, rely on it. Absolutely rely on it.
Today, we're looking for corrosion resistance in tougher and tougher environments. But residual magnetism must be kept low. That plus machining. How does it machine?
When I get that steel into my plant, I want to rely on it. Absolutely. Because when the valve reaches the customer, it must be right and do exactly what it's supposed to do.
A shipment of specialty steel, like few other steels in the metalworking world, is born out of extremely critical demands in high-technology plants. You hear the demands in the very language of electronics producers, for example. The demand for anti-corrosive stainless, for new levels of magnetic permeability, and for advanced alloys to permit miniaturizing of parts. But through it all, you hear the demand for product consistency in free machining steels. Quality held to precise tolerances to support the manufacturer's craftsmanship. And that takes commitment. It's there in this shipment of Carpenter steel type 430 FR stainless. It's headed for the screw machines of a leading manufacturer of high-performance solenoids. Commitment is here, where it all begins, in the control of the melt at Carpenter Steel, Reading, Pennsylvania.
You gotta have the control of the composition, time in the furnace, temperature in there, and all reactions at 3,000 degrees.
What we're doing is probably as critical as you can get in specialty metals. Over 450 basic analyses, each with property combinations for unique manufacturing, fabricating, and end-use requirements. Our lead frame quality low expansion 42, for instance, can go into the calculator and computer people, and they'll be able to apply all their technology to things like lead frame design, knowing they'll have a material that will perform.
A material that will perform, designed for the faster speeds, consistent in its internal structure, finish, machinability, permeability, and all the other standards set for the finest materials. That's the commitment, to perform after the manufactured part is in the final system, to perform in use, in the multiple vital parts of the aircraft power plant, the computer, the food processing machine, and in 1,000 other systems, to perform reliably.
Need a slower hardening. 18-8 stainless.
Gotta remain non-magnetic after cold forming.
We're looking at stress resistance at 1,500 degrees.
But in situations such as the solenoid industry, the bottom line is machinability.
By very careful analytical procedures, among which would be emission spectroscopy, we can carefully monitor the parameters of the analysis of each heat of steel. And by so doing, we can be assured that there will be uniformity of the product
and repeatability in its performance.
It's a technology refined and expanded for 90 years, ever since the company was founded in 1889 as a specialty steel producer.
Well, I figure I've got my eyes and the eyes of all that electronic equipment they use to keep these heats right on the button.
We're bound to lead in R&D. We're the ones expected to keep coming up with new answers.
Our research is all what we call applied. It's all applied towards producing a product for a customer that will serve his needs.
Continuous testing is how we see exactly what we're doing. Very much like monitoring somebody's bodily condition. These quality and performance benchmarks, they're the vital signs we keep an eye on.
You see, we're making an invisible product. It's usually hidden inside a completed system, but it's vital to the whole system.
And of course, we've got a pretty proud name to live up to, so we're going to respond to the new challenges.
Some 14,000 customers know about the challenges. Still others keep presenting new ones.
Well, if you can tell me exactly how you're going to fabricate the part, I can then determine exactly what hardness and forming characteristics to impart to the metal as we're going to ship it to you. We're pretty close to being able
When someone tells us we're modifying our product, so the alloy parameters are now different, then Carpenter steel people start developing a new composition or modifying existing alloy. Our metallurgist would meet with their product designer to start answering their new need. One of our answers to tape head wear was our alloy that gives the heads 10 times their old lifespan. We also perfected a glass sealing alloy for sealed beam headlamp ferrules, where you can't tolerate variation in expansion rates. Of course, that same compatibility with glass and ceramics makes the glass sealing alloys suitable for most lead frame technology.
But it's not only a knowledge of our new alloys, it's knowing how best to use the old ones, and we can tell them how.
Specialty steels, at work in 1,000 critically precise products, like the calculator. At work, too, in the punishing task of tool and die operations, where Carpenter steels have been working for 90 years.
The die has to pay off. That's all there is to it. We're making stampings from SAE 1010 cold rolled strip, and we've invested many dollars to raise our productivity in this operation. The 484 steel allows us to combine the stages so that we're only going through 4 stages now instead of the 10 previously.
Production per grind, that's what we grade, and that's where it matters.
Hardness of Rockwell 61 with a long life under tough stamping rates, about 120 per minute.
Carpenter 610 went into our detail work, supplied decarb free.
We take it in the anneal condition, start machining immediately without having to square the blocks on the shaper.
You hear it throughout the tool and die community. You hear not only the relieved sounds of reduced downtime and increased productivity, but behind it you hear recognition, excellence recognized, the recognition of people more than product. There's something about knowing you're part of a vital answer to 1,000 vital needs, and it shows.
I think one of our best products is communication. It isn't just that I know what we make and what we market. I know what my friends here are doing to make and market our products. Because we all share the news. Because it matters to all of us. It matters to know we're part of the machines that process food and beverage products. And it matters that we solve materials problems for equipment builders in the refining industry and in transportation. And we're part of the instruments and controls that make things work. Things people need to get things done.
It's a rarity in specialty metals, the continuous caster. Carpenter Steel installed it to ensure quality, productivity, and energy conservation. A natural innovation in a company that devotes 2.5% of each revenue dollar to research and development. A natural for this company with its commitment to consistency of the product. Simple in concept, continuous casting works this way. Molten metal poured into a mold bonds to a dummy bar that plugs the mold bottom. Now, as the dummy bar is drawn down, hot metal bonded to it follows through the mold neck. It is actually a solid shell containing molten metal. After a series of water sprays which cause the formation of a solid cross-section. Then the bar is straightened and torch cut into required length. Continuous casting. Today, it's the dramatic innovation at Carpenter Steel. But it's earning its keep, along with the other steelmaking techniques that the industry's best steelmaking people apply here. Electric arc furnaces, where the majority of products are first melted. And here, an electroslag remelting furnace, where Carpenter produces a variety of specialty steels and alloys. Refined and re-solidified with a more uniform structure of the metals. In ultra-critical cases, such as production of high-temperature alloys, they are melted, refined, and poured in a vacuum, in this large vacuum induction furnace. Carpenter's stock in trade is consistency. Properties are controlled and held to predictable levels in its 450-plus grades of specialty metals. To accomplish this, many of these alloys must be refined in consumable electrode furnaces. Not the star of a hyperspace creature movie, but the frisky hot steel that's been formed into wire or strip in a 15-stand hot mill. Minutes ago, it was a mere 7-foot, 900-pound billet. It's about to become a mile of wire, coiled and finished to precise dimensions over its entire length. Always on top of change and growth, Carpenter expands its annealing capacity as times, trends, and technology change. Machinery to shape, finish, and package the products. Machinery, too, to protect the environment this company lives in. Indeed, this is a company that lives in many places, with district offices and warehouses strategically placed in local markets. And each one's inventory is tailored for the local need. In the Chicago area, they need alloys for special fasteners. In Detroit, tool steel. Cleveland region, stainless machining steel. For other areas, other needs. Carpenter is one of the true leaders. A recognized leader dedicated to consistency. It's the leader whose extremely high level of constant research and development, of refining techniques and testing procedures, make it the most vital resource for specialty metals in all high technology markets. The resource with the totally owned distribution network. It includes warehousing, distribution, technical field service, so that the customer's needs are conveyed directly to the mill that will respond to those needs with our steel. And that steel will be refined and processed until it fits his hand perfectly.
What I want when I get that steel into my plant is the ability to fully utilize my craftsmanship. And that takes a known quality I can rely on. It takes consistency.
It takes consistency.